software. It includes not only your Terraterm, it has Wireshark, it has a lot of things, right? So what I will suggest, if you have your computer here, once it is copied to one of the computers, it says student bag, kind of, okay, or resources bag. It has the stuff that you will need for the course completion. So if you can rotate the device around, everybody can get a copy of it, right? While we are also doing the work we are doing. Okay, so it will take some time because there's a lot here that's being copied. So now you should understand that when you have a new device, normally you may be setting up a new network. That's what we are doing here, right? Kind of. Our project and our exercise today is to create a very small network for testing and learning purposes that will have just a few devices to start with. Then we can go on increasing the number of devices that we will need according to the labs. As you can notice, this lab has only one device, right? And can you please see what is the device number, the model number?
You mean like the required resources?
It will tell you what device are you going to connect over here in this section. Is it 2960? Right there.
2960 up here.
That's what we are connected to, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So we are following the lab. This is your course lab. This is not just like a generic lab. So this is where up to now we powered our switch. We have a laptop. We have also connected the laptop using a console cable, where the console cable is connected with an RJ45N connector to the switch console port, right? But on the other side, we need an adapter cable. We call it a USB to serial adapter. And that cable is connected to our Cisco cable. From there, it gives us a 9-pin connection. And it brings the other end to our laptop with a USB connection. So we are all set with that. But before we can do anything on a switch, we have to have a kind of terminal software. A terminal software is basically an application that gives you a window into the device so that you can see what's happening on that device. It also gives you an access, right? It gives you an access to the device, right? So access means now you can gain access to the device and start working, like administering it, managing it. So we need the software that we are trying to copy and load onto this device. I should have just done the one maybe app here. It would have been quicker. But anyhow, we can explain a few things in the meantime. So the software we are going to use is Terraterm. Very popular, free to download, and does a great job. Terraterm gives you two types of connectivity. One, for the first time that you will need, is going to be a console serial connection. So you will use one of the COM ports on your computer. A lot of times that COM port is going to be COM3. It's a communication port, and in short we call it COM port, right? So COM3 is generally one of the ports that connects your computer to a device. Now, it can be sometimes a different port, not necessarily COM3, it can be COM1 sometimes. Depends on how your computer is configured and what port is available. There are a few, up to 6 maybe, COM ports available. It can be less or more depending on what type of computer you have. But certainly there are some multiple communication ports available on your laptops. All right. So with that, we will start configuring the device, and according to the lab, that's what I'm going to explain first. All we need is a switch and a PC or a laptop. Same thing. Now, the type of switch that can work with this lab can be a different model. It can also take 4221. We have 4221 possibly here, but we will have to pull it out of the cabinet, etc., etc. We will check later. Okay. We are happy to use 2960, which will be very much compatible with the lab. Now, over here, the same thing can happen on a router that we will possibly do the next time, right? Because when you have a new router, or you are adding a new router or a switch to your network, it may not be ready for your network needs, right? You may have picked it up from somewhere, or you may have purchased it, or it can be something you already had in your cabinet and you never used it. So you have to first make sure that your device is ready to work with your network. To do that, we already have the setup here, connected with a console cable for initial management and configuration. So if you go to the second page, in case you have your lab and you are taking a look at the lab, please, that will be wonderful. Okay, I have your lab here, so you can manage to maybe two of you together.
I'll read it with her.
Okay, cool. That's great. Yeah, next time I'll bring extra copy. I promise. Okay. So what is happening here? We already have this done, right? You agree? Okay. Down here, we need the TerraTerm to be installed on our laptop. That is a management laptop. And once we connect it, it will start giving us either the boot up process, if the device is not yet booted, but if it has already booted up, then all you will see is a prompt. And the prompt will be that device prompt, kind of command line prompt. And it will be normally using Cisco iOS. And the prompt is going to be switch, if it is a switch, or router, it will say router. And then it will have an angular bracket. That angular bracket tells you you are in user exec mode. There are 3 different privilege modes. That means how much you can do on a device. It depends on your privilege mode and the kind of access granted to you by the network administrator or whoever is in charge of your network. You don't gain access automatically. Somebody has to give you that access. It can be configured on the device, or it can be controlled and managed by using usernames and passwords. So that's what you will see there. A lot of times these devices for learning purposes can just work with a password. They will not ask you for a username. But when you will have to connect these devices from a remote location, you will have 2 options, a telnet and an SSH option. Telnet is not safe because everything, including your logon session, is going to be all in clear, plain text. Your password can be seen by any sniffing device, and every communication you are making with the device will be seen as plain text. Not a good idea. Where can you use it? If you are sitting next door and you are connecting to this device here, or something in your cabinet here, or a wiring closet, or you have device closet in your data center, all these places are just accessible to you right from where you are, maybe in the same building. You don't have safety issues, right, at that moment. So it is okay. But when you connect from your home, your network went down because the switch is, not doing the job. Maybe the config file, startup config or running config, whatever, startup most of the times, that file got corrupted. So now sitting at home, you already have a backup copy. You are one of the team members of your IT staff in the company where you work. So you will then try to restore that configuration file. So you will make a TTY type of connection, a terminal connection using Terraterm kind of thing. And Terraterm also allows you to do not only Telnet, but also SSH connection, a secure shell connection. Now secure shell is all encrypted. So when you type your password from your home, it goes to the switch to get you access or let you, connect to the device. Nobody can see it, because even if somebody sees it, they will only see some encrypted hash kind of thing, and you're safe. And then whatever commands you will start sending to your device, all of these will be also encrypted. So SSH is the right way from a remote location. Okay. Now, once you configure it with basic configuration using your laptop and the console or the serial connection, you will then be able to give your device an IP address. Most of the times, this IP address is going to be VLAN 1 IP address. Every switch, when you buy it, it automatically will have a VLAN or a virtual LAN, which is a software LAN, a virtual LAN, not a real one, but gives you a management access with an IP address. You should configure the device to be having the same IP network based address, one from your LAN, and then from your home you connect with a different type of connection. That would be your regular data connection. So we will teach you all of that, how you do that, and that will be like you are working on with a LAN type connection, and the LAN then connects to maybe internet, and finally you reach your company LAN, and then company LAN will let you reach your device wherever it is, right? Okay. All right. So we'll have to configure Terraterm. It's still busy doing the job.
Is this
bear
part
with
from
me.
the CCNA course?
This is SCCNA 1 LAN.
Okay, cool.
Good question. Thank you. So once you will configure your Terraterm, there's not much to be done actually. When you will start your Terraterm connection and the console cable is all connected, the switch is powered on, you will see that Terraterm will come out with some options. How to make your connection, some bounds and other kind of things. So that will be already configured for you, given to you by Terraterm, because 99% of the times those default settings are going to be good for you to go, right? You may not have to change anything, and you say okay, and you start seeing the prompt then. So once you see the prompt, you will start your lab from here, okay? Your lab is going to be right under step 1. You would like to see the version of the Cisco iOS, and the command for that is very simply, you can see here, it says show version, right? Pretty clearly, of course, very intuitive. So it will tell you what version it is. Notice that the version number is 15.0. something. Now, Cisco has been coming out with many different versions, updates of the software for Cisco iOS over the period. Now, There was a time when it was version number 14 kind of, and up to a point it had a command set that worked on it. But then some developments took place and they came out with some new types of commands or some bug fixes, whatever. So 15 and onwards really are going to be very efficient with the kind of labs we do. They have the newer set of commands, available through them. So this version gives you support for these commands. Those were added at a given time. All right. So first thing you will do is you are going to configure the clock. Why the clock? First of all, the clock that you will see a lot of time will be not the correct time. So you will have to sync it to the correct time, if possible, using one of the NTP servers somewhere online through the internet. If not, look at your own time from the computer and configure it with the correct date, time, maybe as much as possible up to the minute level. Seconds, don't matter. All right. So the problem with the time is, if you don't do it correctly, your device may not even work in your network. It will be denied access. It will say no. Well, you are talking about 1999 and this is 2022 and no access granted. A lot of applications don't work if your clock is out of sync, not having the right time. So technically, every device also keeps a log of every event, a record of everything happening on a device. Now that record goes into a log where it will have a timestamp. If the timestamp is not accurate, it's a problematic thing, because you are going to work as IT professionals watching the networks of a company or business where you will be encountering a lot of illegal, unauthorized activity. And when you will investigate that, you will need a very accurate timestamp. A lot of times the events of an attack or a hack or a malware activity, they do not happen in one single stroke. Multiple events happen. They can be also spread over the time. So think about that some activity took place at minute number 20, hour maybe 13. And then after 2 minutes, another activity happens, another 1 minute, something else happens. So the hackers are doing things step by step. You will have to not only collect these scattered, not connected events so easily, it's not, obvious, but you will have to use some special software, and you will have to pick up these timestamp based, events. Those can be then stitched together. You have to stitch them, just like a video, to create a whole overall scene of that, attack or hack. Right, Nicholas? So things have to be brought to a point where timestamps become so important, because otherwise, if the timestamp is off, you will not be able to diagnose, find out, analyze anything.
Not even just an attack, right? Like maybe suddenly something stopped working, and then like when did it stop working? 8
Yeah, you don't
o'clock.
know what time it was.
Right.
And then let's see what action did we take right before 8 o'clock,
Right.
so that we can see what did we do to mess this up.
So what action did you take before January 7th, 1967?
Right. Exactly. So it's not just one single purpose, but I'm giving you some examples, okay? So let me see. All right. Just taking a look what is there inside.